The numbers show First Nations youth are drastically overrepresented in the justice system. To bring those high numbers down, police sometimes turn to restorative justice. But in Prince George, one organization is saying that's not the case anymore.
Prince George shows you your choices every morning. Look up and on one side you'll see the jail, on the other, the university. That's what Morgan Jameson always says.
I don't think I've ever met a child yet that's woken up in the morning and said, hey, I want to grow up to be a drug addict or a dealer.
Restorative justice connects offenders with victims. That's how Jameson tries to turn lives around. She sees people from all walks of life, but specializes in First Nations youth.
But what we're doing is we're working through the values of the traditional Aboriginal way of settling disputes, and with the more modern restorative justice movement in Canada.
Her aim is to keep kids out of gangs and their records clean. According to Stats Can, in 2011, First Nations made up 26% of the correctional system population. They only make up 6% of the whole population.
The school system itself hasn't been able to serve Aboriginal students particularly well. And the gangs are more than willing to compete.
Now Jameson is competing for cases. She says over the last year, her referrals from the RCMP have dropped between 60 to 50 to 12.
It's a dramatic drop. It really is. And I would like to think it was because kids aren't doing anything wrong around town all of a sudden. But I don't think that's the case.
The RCMP says the society has moved offices in the past year, as well as dealt with an injury the executive director suffered.
On our side of the house, we certainly have some challenges just making sure that we get the proper people to them, the proper types of cases, and we are refining our processes to make sure that we get more cases to them in a timely fashion.
The path to a jail cell or restorative justice is up to the arresting officer for the most part, and Superintendent Stubbs says they'll work on the latter.
It works the best if the member is thinking about restorative justice or all their options right at the onset of their investigation and considering it and then guiding that offender into that program. And that's something we have to work better on, is making sure that they're considering that program right off, in the first instance when they respond to the call.
That's what Jameson wants, a second chance for kids to look up at the university rather than the jail. Kelly Lanahan, CKPG News.